Ladies and gentlemen, it's finally over. The pain is over, or is it just starting? We got you covered. Roger Schmidt sacking, Moreirense game, transfer window, Champions League. We got everything. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you in a bit. Another night, another podcast.
Hasta que no estás aquí dentro no sabes la grandeza de este equipo.
Quero o Benfica intimidar o adversário. Quero um manto sagrado entrar com vocês em qualquer estádio. E esses estádios, pá! É isso que eu quero!
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Talking to the Doll Benfica podcast, episode 534. My name is Alfredo Fumacic. With me, as always, Cristiano Oliveira, one of the Oliveiras. What's happening?
What's going on, Alfredinho? Beleza?
It's a good day, Chris. It's a good day.
What, today? Every day. I mean, every time we do a podcast is a good day.
Every day after Saturday was a good day.
Ainda não, também tem calma, ainda não. Yes, it's a better day, but let's see what happens now.
Pois é.
I mean, for all we know, the next head coach is Manuel Cajuda.
Pois é.
And then we'll be so let's simmer down a bit. By the way, welcome to all the Freddies. Smash that like button. I'm excited to see Diogo Reis. Well, him I should take back. I'm not excited to see him, but Mike Madeira, Manuel da Cunha, Vamos Embora, Bruno Gil Rodrigues, DJ Natural, Manny Validão. That's me, DJ, these guys. You guys are great. Thank you very much for joining us once again here on Benfica Podcast. Unfortunately, Dave will not be a part of the podcast today, but he's still in the podcast every other day. So, hope you guys enjoy and hit us up with your comments. Are you happy about Roger Schmidt leaving, coming, going? Who do you want to come? So let's go. Me and Alfredo are ready to rock, and we'll read all your comments here on the podcast.
Yeah, we'll get into that. What we're looking at is we're gonna briefly speak about the Moreirense game, and I'm glad we don't have to speak about it that much. We're also going to recap you and catch you up on all the ins and outs of this roster, this transfer window. And we'll look ahead to the Champions League, which is right around the corner as Benfica debuts in this new format of the Champions League, a format that will see Benfica play 8 total games. We'll break down how the rules go. Just in case you don't know, but we got you covered. We got you covered. As
4 on the road, 4 at home.
Yeah.
So it should be exciting.
It should be exciting. It should be exciting. I marked them up
for the opposition, but we hope it's exciting for us as well.
Bro, não digas isso, man. It's a sunny day. Everything is gonna be fine now.
Sunny day where it's nighttime. It's 9:40 p.m. Eastern with sunny where. California, maybe.
I'm just happy that I don't have to deal with Roger Schmidt anymore.
With top performance, top game, top play, top player, top coach, top everything. Yeah. I mean, listen, that is definitely a positive. We've all talked about this. We beat this horse to death already. I mean, realistically, to be brutally honest and fair, not trying to pat myself on the back, but again, ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly what we were talking about at the end of last season during the podcast. I recall the 2 very last podcasts. I kept repeating myself on how I could not believe that Rui Costa would keep this guy around, because it's exactly what I predicted would happen is happening now, which is if we unfortunately start off the season in a rocky situation, he is going to be left with no choice but to fire him. And here we are.
Yeah.
And this is why it's unfathomable to me, mind-boggling, that Rui Costa, the direção, the powers that be, those around him, whomever, Rui Costa's right-hand man, whomever, around him or near him, did not put things in such way for him to understand that you might like the coach all you want, but the situation with the fans, with the players, with the team, things have not been good for easily since the first 6 months of his first year. And so there was all this turmoil, all these possible scenarios that could not end well. And I do not understand why Rui Costa didn't turn the page then. And now look, here we are. Now we're 5 points behind Sporting, who beat Porto at the weekend. The season can still be salvaged. It's still early enough in the season. But that it is all going to, at the end of the day, be decided by who they appoint as a manager. And I'm very anxious to see what's going to happen. I believe it's going to be another foreign coach. At least I've been told that. So let's see what happens, because the candidates and the people that are on top of the table is no one that gets me off my seat. So let's see what happens.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot of season left. There's still a lot of competitions. And I'm sorry, afraid I'm going on and on. But you got the Campeonato Português, Taça da Liga, Taça de Portugal, Champions League, and then for the first time ever, the Club World Cup. So there's still a lot at stake, a lot of games to be played. Hopefully the next head coach comes in and he changes this thing around. This team still has a lot of talent. We are not happy with the way this offseason has gone. But at the end of the day, the team is still good enough in the Portuguese league, at least at the very minimum in the Portuguese league, to compete for trophies. We'll see about everything else. But in the Portuguese league, this team still has enough players and the obligation to compete. And again, Alfredo, last point, repeating it once again, it's all going to rely on whoever we appoint as head coach, which is ideally as important as the firing of the previous coach. Now naming the next coach is crucial. So I'm ready.
Yeah, and look, I think that the last thing that we want to do is say we told you so, but I think that everybody saw the way this movie was going to end, right? At the end of the last season, as Cristiano mentioned, we pondered, does he have the balls to fire him now? Because if he fires him now, you start up with the clean slate, and look, you reconnect, you bring a player, or you bring a coach, you kind of tool the team around that coach. But quite honestly, I doubt that Benfica even had the money to rescind the contract with Roger Schmidt. So maybe that's where it came from.
No
ashes.
Oh, you mean at the time?
Yeah. Agora já tens.
You mean at the end? But even then, I mean, even then, you knew, Alfredo. See, that part I don't believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll explain to you why I don't believe. Because even if your scenario was the correct one, in saying that they didn't want to make the move because they didn't have the money at the time, everyone around the world knew that all they had to do was sell João Neves, which they eventually did. But if it was really a money thing, they could have sold. What was that? Was that you or me?
I didn't say anything.
There was loud noise in the background. If it was really a money thing, they could have sold the player and gotten the money to draft. To draft. Jeez, I'm thinking about fantasy draft. They could have gotten the money and taken care of the situation. So that's why I don't think it was a money thing, because we all know that Benfica would have gotten easily 50, 60, which they did in the end, for João Neves, which would have taken care of all that whole situation.
And you weren't here the first couple episodes when we spoke about João Neves leaving. Do you think, and at the time, the biggest thing for me that I said that I mentioned here was that Benfica didn't have any offers on the table for any players. The only offer that they had was for João Neves, and it was way below the clause established, right? Regardless. I think that because Benfica didn't have any offers on the table, they were kind of pressured to sell João Neves at the price that they did, because at the end of the day, you need to make coin. So I don't know, that whole João Neves thing kind of throws me off as a desperation move. I think that Benfica could have gotten more money for João Neves, but the thing is that. I don't know. I don't think that we are that well financially as people think, or I think that we're worse than what people think financially. Certainly, this transfer window helped a little bit, but I don't know. And look, Benfica could have had the funds, but saying, okay, do we save 17, 18 million, whatever it was at the end of last season, and we invest that,
low 20s.
Yeah, and we invest that on a player next season, or do we cut the ties and we have to swallow this huge nut? So I don't know what went on, but the thing is that it was very ballsy by Rui Costa to stick with him. And he knows that at the end of the day, he's the guy that's responsible for the decisions. So any decisions that go wrong, he's the guy that's going to be held accountable. So look, we said here, look, he's going to have a short leash. The relationship with the fans isn't the best. At the small sign of anything bad, a couple bad results, it's people are going to be clamoring for a spot, and I think that Rui Costa let it go long enough, and here we are, find ourselves in the fourth jornada. Diz lá.
I think he tried to take a page out of his master's playbook
With the light,
right? No. When everyone hollered and screamed to get rid of Jorge Jesus, and he didn't, and then Jorge Jesus went on to win a couple of titles. I think he took encouragement from that. I don't know what the hell he was thinking, but maybe Rui Costa is a positive. He's a glass half full as opposed to a half empty guy, and he figured that Roger Schmidt started off, his career at Benfica flying, and maybe that he could rediscover some magic. That Benfica had enough players last year, coming back into this year, I should say, to compete and put up better performances in Portugal. They went out and spent another 25 million on a striker. Maybe Rui Costa had all these ginormous plans that these teams are going to come after João Neves and Antonio Silva and everybody with buckets of cash, and things just didn't pan out. But it's just hard to see what's happened to this team. I can't comprehend. And look, maybe Rui Costa is too nice of a guy to be making these decisions, right? To be at the head of a club such as Benfica, because sometimes you have to make these difficult decisions sooner or later. And for the better of the team, sometimes you have to make these decisions a lot sooner than you would like. And by not doing that, we are right now on the back foot. We're trailing by 5 points. But the good thing is, as I said before, it's early enough in the season.
It's 30 games.
That you can bring in somebody with plenty of time. There's a question here from, where was I? See it? I think is DJ Natural says, the question I have is how is Benfica going to find a successful coach in less than 2 weeks? I mean, again, DJ, as we just talked about here for the last 10 minutes, this is something that should happen in May. So I think any good front office is doing their homework over this time. And again, Benfica lost the very first game of the season against Famalicão. So in theory, they could have started this a month ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They could have started preparing. So it's not just 2 weeks. But yeah, I get your point. If Benfica has been asleep at the wheel until Saturday, yeah, I'm with you. Where in the hell, But I like to think that they're a little bit more prepared than that. I would like to think that they are. I'm just saying I would like to think
Cristiano. You're an optimist, man. I like this. Positive Cristiano. I like it.
I'm trying to be optimistic because, again, look, the first domino that needed to fall was this coach who, for a better part of me, I've said this to you and I've said it to other people, I felt a lot of times that it seemed like my man was putting his job on the line by being inept, by making these, like sabotage. I don't want to say sabotage, but setting himself up to be fired by constantly coming after the fans. Okay, that's something you don't do. See, at these clubs nowadays, not nowadays, but these old school clubs, I should say, they're still, owned by socios, right?
Yeah.
In theory, that's their owners. You can't come after them. Whether you like it or not, you can't come after the fans in the manner that he did. And then the other thing is he committed the same mistakes in day 937 as he did in day 6. You know what I mean? It's like, and he's got plenty of criticism and plenty of warnings. I like to think that he's looked at some of the videos of seasons past, because coaches go back and rewatch the tape and what could I have done better? What could I have And again, he obviously didn't do any of that. So it's kind of like, I'm just going to keep doing whatever the hell I want. They're going to fire me. I don't want to be here anyway. Yeah. I don't know. Call me crazy.
I think that number one, I think that he had a lot of credit to Rui Costa, and you're right. I think that Rui Costa held on to him as long as he could hold on to him, hoping for some of that what we saw in the first season by Roger Schmidt, a little bit of repeat with the right personnel. But at the end of the day, I mean, you spend money on a forward, and then you're playing with two defensive midfielders against Famalicão, against
Makes no
Casapia,
sense.
against Moreirense,
And again, Alfredo,
against
I'm sorry to
Estrela.
interrupt. Dave, Alfredo, you're exactly right. It was week 1, week 2, week 3, week. It's like at this point, you're just
Estás a
rubbing dirt in
gozar
my
com a
face, bro.
gente, pá.
Yeah, you're just
Estás a-
doing it. I mean, estás a gozar comigo, bro.
Estás a gozar com a nossa
100%.
cara, caralho. You know,
100%. Real quick, SOB says Benfica made 150. SOB SOBEES says Benfica made 155 million this offseason. That's a huge chunk of change. Well, yes, but then you got to take into account the money that they spent.
Yep.
So in theory, I think they only made not only, but I think Benfica profited like 90 million in terms of sales.
Yeah.
And how much they spent. So the number comes out to 90 something mil or whatever it is.
There's
Still a very nice chunk of change. Plus, you add in the money from
the
Champions League, the money from the Club World Cup. So that's why I don't know. I don't think, bro. I would like, again, trying to be an optimist, right? Which is, I would like to think that the club is not in that big of a mess financially. With all this type of money coming in, and you're still in trouble. Come on, bro. Something is really wrong. So try to be a little bit positive.
Yeah, no, look, it is what it is. It's too bad that it took this long, but yeah, it's, you know, for somebody that's been in football, and I'm talking about Rui Costa, basically all his life. He's been at some of the biggest clubs in the world, right? And having experienced, you know, a club and the inner workings of a club, and even knowing football, I mean, everybody knew that how is this guy playing with two defensive midfielders against teams that have a low block and they just back up into defense and they think about countering you, catching you on a counter, and it was on and on. And this game against Moreirense was no different. Same lineup, with a couple differences. Silva came in for.
Well, you had Di Maria in the starting lineup.
Yeah, Di
So
Maria
that's-
was in the starting lineup. Antonio Silva was in the starting lineup. So I mean, it was a little bit more offensive this time around, but still, those two guys. Why do you need those two guys? They give you nothing going forward. They're just balance guys that balance the team and plug up holes and cut up plays, but going forward they offer you nothing. Tomás Araújo, we were wondering why Tomás Araújo had lost the starting spot to Silva, because he had been doing well, but apparently he had some kind of a knock as he was excused from
but
the
Alfredo, but
national
he
team.
should. I mean, but come on. I mean,
But Antonio Silva
when
hasn't
you
really
say,
had a
when you
start.
say that's fine, but hold on, because you said he lost his spot. So in essence, you're saying that Antonio Silva lost his spot to him, right?
Yeah.
Is that what? So you think Antonio Silva has been relegated to a bench role when Tomás Araújo was healthy? Is that what you're saying?
I thought that Tomás Araújo was playing much better than Antonio Silva this early in the season.
Okay.
So I thought that, yes, it was his spot to lose. I think out of all three backs, he's probably the guy that has the most potential. I mean, it's hard for me to compare him against Otamendi just because of the veteranship and other things, the intelligence. But I think that Tomás Araújo at this point is going through a better period of form than Antonio Silva. I think that Antonio Silva is still reeling from his summer in Germany, where he made the national team, was happy to make the national team, has a couple blunders, has that one blunder in that throwaway game that Portugal played in the group stages. I think it was the last game of the group stages, and he didn't. The media got on him. He came back from Germany. It's Germany, right? Came back from Germany, or was it France? It was France, right? The Euro was where?
What are you talking about?
The Euro.
Germany.
Yeah, so he came back from the national team, and I don't think he's going through his best period of confidence, and I think that's reflected in the way he's playing. But anyway, a much better lineup with Di Maria, obviously. But again, same old. First half is basically give away first half and lots of possession, but with nothing. And then in the 46th minute, Sanchez came in from Tino, and I actually tweeted, it's like, how do you expect a guy that showed very poorly last game out in terms of the game shape he's in, and he's still in not the best of shape, and you rely on him to push the ball.
I mean, but Alfredo, let's be frank.
But let me finish. The truth of the matter is that Renato Sanchez, for all the limitations that he has and not being informed, he did a very good job. But then again, this goes against, you don't need somebody that special to push the ball. You just got to need to know to push the ball.
It doesn't take. That's all I was going to say.
Right, these teams.
It doesn't take much to improve Florentino's play going forward. You know what I mean? Me and you probably improve is an improvement. So, yeah. Even though Renato's still out of shape, but he still passed the ball forward, where Tino can't do that. That's been his one, his one negative aspect of his game forever. And that's why, realistically, let's be fair, that's why he's still at Benfica.
Yeah.
Because in terms of defensively, he's really good at what he does, but with the ball at his feet, he's a negative. And then you put a guy like Barreto, who's very similar, two monks in the middle of the field. Cristiani, who I like, and I said this on last week's podcast, so for those of you that listen weekly, I apologize for repeating myself, but again, each week it proves what I'm saying even further, which is the player is a player that I like going forward. But today, he is not ready to be starting at Sporting Benfica. So you're playing with players that have no business playing in these types of games, and then you're expecting a result. But now, Alfredo, let's be frank. Let's be honest. I said frank like 10 times already today. What the hell's wrong with this? But let's be honest here. It's good because it's early in the season, and now hopefully we're getting a coach that realizes that our roster is not as bad as, again, I'm a quote DJ Natural once again. He says, "Can we just all agree that Benfica 24-25 is fucked?" And I kind of don't agree. And then Diogo Rey says, "This tire fire called Benfica is not going to beat Sporting regardless of who we are." I disagree. Because you look at this roster. Man. You look at this roster, and it's not as bad as you make it out to be. The one aspect where it's weaker than last season is for sure. You lose a player the caliber of a João Neves. It's going to be hard to replace him, especially, a player of that caliber at Benfica. But everywhere else, look, you look at you look at position for position. You got two right backs. Your center backs, you're okay. All right, still really good. Left back is probably your weakest spot in the field. Center mids, again, if you play in the way I think Benfica should play in the 4-3-3, you have more than enough. You have two options at right wing. You have two options up top. You have two options in the middle with Cristiani and Amdadoui, whatever his name is. You got two options, 2 or 3 if you include Chaldrup on the left. The weakness is in the middle. But if Benfica plays in a 4-3-3 with Truvin, Ba, Silva or Araújo, whatever, Otamendi, whichever combination. I know some guys want Otamendi out, but I still would play him. Then on the left, Best or Carrera. In the middle, he needs to get healthy, but in the middle, Renato, Koksu, and Arsenal is in the middle. Di Maria on the right, Pavlidis up top, and then now Artur Golu's on the left. Bro, I think it's more than enough to win in Portugal. I'm not saying we're going to go into Bayern Munich and beat these guys. I'm not saying we're going to go into Juventus and beat them. I'm not saying we're beating Atletico Madrid at home. I'm talking about in the Campeonato Português. And I was even speaking with Sportingista today. They agree with me. Benfica has more than enough in the Campeonato Português with an adequate and a competent coach. That's the key. A competent coach that understands how to rotate players, understands how to make in-game management, understands the opportune times and the right time to make substitutions when the game needs a change. In the Portuguese league, Benfica has, would you be surprised if Benfica runs off a 15-game win streak in Portugal? No, absolutely not. It's the Portuguese league. You're playing against Chaves, Estrela da Amadora, Casa Pia. I mean, come on, dude.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with you. It's still early, right? I think, look, if you want to, I was looking at the fixtures earlier, and you don't play Porto or any high difficult game until November. Is when you play Porto. It's in November.
Yeah, which is good. Which is
gives
good.
It gives you runway.
You have an opportunity to hire, start fresh, hire a new coach. And we understand it's not going to click week one. But again, like I said, very similar to what I said to Tino. It doesn't take much to improve what he was doing going forward, right?
Right.
It's
Right.
not going to take much to improve what Roger Schmidt was doing. I mean, you look at our results in the first 4 games, like I said, it's not going to take much to improve. So an adequate coach, a competent coach, could get this team playing better, get this team's confidence to start building, putting some positive results on the board. And then you have between now and, as you said, in November, to get the steamboat rolling down the stream and get this team going. And then, picking up some confidence, team playing, getting comfortable comfortable with the coach. Again, it all goes down, in my humble opinion, to who you appoint as the next coach of Sport Lisboa and Benfica.
Yep.
This is crucial. If Rui Costa should have done it before, but again, he has he has a mulligan. He has an opportunity. Again, Benfica's behind 5 points. I get it, but it's still early on in the season that we can turn this around. But it's crucial that he hire the right person. If Rui Costa has any chance, or he wants any chance of rebuilding his reputation of sticking around after this is his most important hire. This is it. This is his last hire until he goes up into election. This is it. So he needs to get this one right. And I can understand you asking the question, which is, if the guy wasn't competent before, what makes you think he's going to be competent now? 100%. I get that. That's why I'm saying it's important, and hopefully the people around them understand the gravity of the situation, and they need to get this straight.
Yeah.
And at the same time, a little confidence. There's still plenty of time left to straighten this out.
Yeah, I wonder if Rui Costa must have really believed that this was going to turn around, right? Because plan B, right, as you make that decision, you got to be prepared for some kind of contingency plan, right? So Rui Costa has to be thinking that if shit goes bad in the first 3-4 games and I have to let this guy go, what's my plan B? And I think that he didn't have a plan B because he firmly believed that this guy was going to be successful. I think that if you have a plan B, you get to this stage and all you have to do is pick up the phone. Hey, you know that inquiry that we spoke about a couple months back? Yeah, it's time. So I think that is, I don't know if he did that or not, but I think that if he has a plan B and if he has a short list of 2 or 3 guys that he really wanted to bring to this team, I think that at this time, a guy should have been named by now. He did say in his...
It doesn't work like that, Alfredo. It doesn't just work. We're going to appoint somebody. There's contracts that have to be terminated. There's contracts that have to be signed. It's not as easy. This is not PlayStation where, okay, fire a guy, you appoint. There's legalities behind all this. So we have to give it a little bit of time. I understand. Look, I'm as anxious as anybody, Alfredo. No, bro. There's a lot of lawyers involved in the situation, so it's not as easy of a turnaround as you think. Right?
Okay. Well, I'll give you that much. I don't know. But you got to have a plan to B. And I don't think Rui Costa had one.
No, that's fine. Agreed. But there's more to that. They could have the coach chosen already since Saturday, but until they take care of the situation with Roger Schmidt, you can't appoint a coach while there's a coach appointed. So until the contract is off the books, you can't name another one.
Well,
you understand what I'm saying?
Once he communicates to the CMVM, I think that's a done deal.
No, but the CMVM was at their negotiations to terminate. It wasn't. Go read it. The CMVM wasn't. The press release wasn't that we have terminated or that we have come to an agreement. Go read it again. It says that we are in negotiation. Am I correct?
I did read that one, but I don't know if I remember the other one, the official one, if that's gone out. But I do remember.
No, that was the official one. That's the one that they only put
the
out
one after
Saturday.
that. The one after that, to the CMVM saying that he was, because Rui Costa say he's
mas
no
é
longer
esse.
a coach. Rui Costa,
Alfredo.
in the interview, Rui Costa said, or in the press, Rui Costa said, Roger Schmidt is no longer our coach. Now, there's, like you said, there's a legalities.
Negotiation. Yes, he said he's no longer our coach. We told him that we don't. But again, they have to. And again, I don't know. I only saw one press release. I don't know what you're talking about. Another one. I'm not saying didn't happen. I'm saying me. I only saw one. And in that one, it said that we have started negotiation with
Yes.
Roger Schmidt to terminate his contract. So the point being that while you have a coach appointed and registered within the league, you can't appoint another one. And everything we've heard is that Roger Schmidt said,
Hey, why
"Oh,
not?
man, you giving me every penny. I'm not leaving a penny." So this is, and again, I don't understand Benfica's side also.
Jorge Jesus was appointed while still a coach. You don't remember that?
Who's appointed while still a coach?
Jorge Jesus.
Okay, he was appointed when?
I think he was
What are you
appointed
referring
at either Benfica or Flamengo or vice versa. When he was still Benfica coach and he had been announced as Flamengo coach, if I remember correctly. You don't remember that whole fiasco?
Yeah, but no, bro, Freddie, he went from Flamengo to Benfica. What are you talking about? Tú andas perdido, bro.
No, but then
It wasn't Benfica to Flamengo.
right, but you remember when he met with guys in a hotel in Lisbon while
meeting,
still
yeah, but Alfredo, but meeting and whatever, and at the time, right, replacing Bruno Lage and in the front office was mutual. The agreement was mutual. So Aquila Escarali, okay, look, my attorney's going to draw up termination papers, and you're going to sign. Okay, Beleza, let's go, right? But now, as far as we know, Roger Schmidt is not leaving a penny on the table.
No, he definitely isn't.
Benfica, which I was going to, and again, this is the bullshit behind the scenes a lot of people don't understand about football, which is Benfica, once they decide to fire a guy, the guy doesn't have to give up any money. My man, you signed the contract. You pay me what you put. I don't want to leave. You firing me. You got to pay me every penny. So Benfica's going to go into the court of law in any country, and they're going to lose. So I don't understand what this nonsense going back and forth. So just whatever you owe, pay him. But now they could be negotiating. Roger Schmidt might be wanting that 18, 17, 19 million, whatever they owe. He might be saying, I want it now, all up front. Benfica might be trying to negotiate. We'll pay you X amount of money every month as we're paying you. Benfica could be trying to negotiate. We'll give you X amount each year. Benfica could be trying to negotiate with them that, look, we'll pay you your regular salary until you sign another contract with another team. And then we stop paying you. Benfica could be negotiating contracts in that we'll pay you until you hire with another team. Then the other team, if they don't pay you as much as we're paying, we'll pay you the difference. There's a lot of things behind the scenes that we as everyday fans don't think about. But these are contract negotiations that go on every single day. So us right now, we don't have an idea as to what could be happening. All I know is that could be a possibility, that they haven't come into an agreement with the coach on the termination process, and therefore they're not allowed to name a coach while there's still a coach in place. That's my entender.
That's fair.
Okay. But so he could have it again. He could have said, look, this is going to make some people happy. It's going to make some people upset. He could have, the day you walked into the room firing to tell Roger Schmidt that he terminated his contract, he could have had an agreement with Cedric Conceição already, for all we know. Right? But he can't.
As an example.
Is off the book.
As an example.
I know. I said as an example.
As an example.
He could have had an agreement with me and you. Right? He could have had an agreement with Cristiano Oliveira to be the next head coach of Benfica.
Yeah.
Okay? But until that contract is officially off the books and officially terminated, and Benfica doesn't have a coach, they can't appoint anybody. So that's the first step. He has to take care of that.
Yeah. Let me just let's finish up this Moreirense game. Moreirense got 1-0 off a deflection late in the game, and at that point, Rui Costa left the where he was watching the game, and I don't know where he went. Maybe foi dar murro na mesa, maybe. And then Benfica was basically gifted a penalty in the dying minutes of the second half. There's a handball that precedes the non-foul on Barreiro, which I hate getting points like that. We're very critical of refs when they don't call the things the right way. And let me just tell you, this was a gift that Benfica could be happy. with. You know, so.
But look,
yeah.
the referee is inconsistent. Was it a gift?
Yeah.
Yes, it was a gift because again, in my opinion, it was a handball on Marcus Leonardo. But there was also a handball on the rival defender in the first half. That to me, I don't care with these new stupid rules. That's a penalty, man. His arm was not glued to his side. That's a penalty. And so you can make the argument. And then all these crybabies, Porto Sporting fans, talking about Benfica were handed a gift when they got the goal disallowed. Listen, I'm not a fan of VAR. I'm not a VAR guy. Okay? But the minute you have VAR implemented, you have to go by it. And by the rules, he got stepped on, and that's it. He could go back and terminate the play, which they did. And that's it. So stop crying. Stop crying. Because last year, Sport, they scored against Porto, the same thing. Went to VAR, bullshit foul, and they got that call back. So stop crying. By the way, Alfredo, Bruno Gil Rodrigues says, I was very disappointed to learn that Bruno Lage demanded full pay when he was fired. Final payment was last May.
Yeah.
So again, but Bruno Lage was making what? $1 million a year, if that?
Yeah, peanuts.
Roger Schmidt's making a lot more than that. So again, things are, the more money you make, the more complicated things get, the more complicated negotiations.
And look, I think that it has to do with the way how you left the club, and I think that deep in his heart, Bruno Lage felt that he was pushed out, whether it was players, whether it was somebody else, whether it was a campaign against whatever. But yeah, I think that look, if a job fires me, regardless of how good a relationship I have, I want every penny that I'm owed.
Yeah, especially when you sign contracts.
Right.
Here in the United States, a lot of jobs, you take a lot of jobs, you don't sign contracts.
Right. And
but over there, it's a contract.
Yeah.
Over there, anywhere in the world, once you sign a contract, bro, that's tight. That's unless you did something, there's these clauses, you can't go parachuting or professionalism. But he didn't do that. He didn't do any of those things that we know of. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We don't know. But yeah.
So two more points lost for Benfica, and now we got the international break. So I know that
Hey, was it 2 points lost or 1.1? That late with a penalty like that, that's a 0.1.
Yeah, that's a 0.1.
That's
You're right. Now that I look at that angle, yeah, you could have said that. But yeah, look, I think you got the international break. I think the players, whatever players were still remaining at Seychelles, and I think the Rui Costa said like 5 or 7 players that were left that hadn't gone to the national
6
teams. Yeah,
I think he said 6.
They have off until Friday, if I'm not mistaken, and then But he also said that a coach will be announced sometime this week. So I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow. I don't know if it's going to be Thursday. But certainly, if the players return to work on Friday, you want to return to work with the new coach. So. Stay tuned.
Why are these players getting this long of a break? What for?
Hey,
for,
it was Roger Schmidt that had planned it out. Don't question it.
This is a reward for their brilliant start.
I guess it was.
I know it's only 6. Mas deve ser 6 months. Para entrar na seleção, eles têm que correr, pá. Tem que jogar a bola todos os dias.
I would hope that.
I bet you one of them's Tino. One of them's Tino because he's not a Portuguese national team.
I would bet that I hope that Renato's put in extra sessions to get back in shape.
Exactly. So what are you leaving him off until Friday for?
Yeah, maybe he's doing work on the side, getting up, doing some sit-ups.
Yoga,
I don't know.
Yoga na Praça do Comércio.
Anyway, transfer window closed in Portugal this past Monday, and a couple pieces of business by Benfica. Just bringing up this graphic here that has all the guys that we brought in. We're gonna go one by one, and then we'll talk about in terms of how we grade this transfer window for Benfica. So first one on a free, Barreiro, defensive midfielder, 24 years old. 8 million is what we paid for best left back, 25 years old. Then we brought in 25-year-old Pavlidis for the forward line at 25 million. And then Sanchez loan, Gabore loan, Amdouni on loan, and Akturgoglu was
with an option to buy.
With an option to buy in 15-20 minutes left to the window. Look, I think that I'm looking at
No. Sorry. The option to buy was for Amdouni, Alfredo. I was saying.
For Amdouni?
On loan. Yeah, Amdouni was the option to buy at the end of the year, 20 million. Artur Kuglu was 12 million plus 10% of future profits.
Yeah.
So he's fully Benfica's. If he goes him 10% in the future sell. Who else?
Cabore?
What's his name? Cabori was a loan with no option to buy, but his contract expires at the end of the season, if I'm not mistaken. And same thing with Renato Sanchez. That's the one stiff we get, the annual
Yeah.
stiff from Paris Saint-Germain. I'm hoping that is not the case because I do like Renato a lot. But let's hope he breaks that yearly tradition between Benfica and Paris Saint-Germain.
I agree. Look, I think that the thing that strikes me here the most is the fact that in the last 3 days of the window, we brought in 3 players: Kabore, Amdouni, and Akturkoglu. Were those 3 guys, and I don't know how to take that, Cristiano. Would you think? Would you say, right, that bringing these 3 guys at the very end of the transfer, do you think this is just something that just like improvised with no planning? It was just something that you went and did it just because you wanted to do it, or you think there was a plan behind it?
No. I think. Listen, first of all, you sell late. You got to get replacements late, right? João Mario was João Mario was put on the transfer because he was booed by the fans. I mean, that's great. That's great planning. Who else did we miss all of a sudden? Neves, real late, all preseason, praise he was going to start, and then all of a sudden, before you know, within 2 weeks before the transfer window closed, you got to replace. So I mean, again, you lose these types of players, you also have to replace them. Now, the sign of the sign of signing players late in the transfer window, you can look at it one of 2 ways, Alfredo. There's a lot of quality players that become available at the end because all of a sudden new signatures come in or whatnot, and the team all of a sudden has to find a spot for these guys. And so that's one way. The other way to look at it is a lot of guys that are on the transfer list for one amount of money that's generally high, and then as the window's closing in, now their price drops. So then the team like Benfica can swoop in and pick these guys up. So there's many different ways, So don't look at it as sometimes the lack of planning. I think Benfica in this situation, they had to replace the players that they lost, and some of these players last minute were everything I've read and everything I've heard and everyone I've spoken to is a really good player. They said that he's going to remind us a lot of Rafa. Little guy, speedy, very fast. Hopefully he's better in front of goal than Rafa. But he is a guy that has goals on his resume over the last few years. So I expect good things from this player. And he became available at the last second because Galatasaray brought in Victor Osimhen, and now they have to let go of these guys, possibly because of financial fair play ruling. We don't know, but again, these are situations that happen last minute, and the teams have to find a way to place players. And look, this is a quality player that wound up on Benfica's doorstep for a very reasonable and cheap price, a player that I expect to add quality to this team. So some opportunities present themselves, Alfredo. It's not all negative.
No,
So,
I understand. Manny Villadon was saying, and I did see this list, we literally only have 2 players left from the team that won the league a couple years back. I did see that list. Also, Benfica is saying, why can others keep the best players, Diogo Costa, Porto, Gyökeres, Sporting, but we can't? That's a $1 million
100%.
question.
Mind-boggling.
That's a $1 million question.
We say it all the time. We love, especially Benfiquistas, right? Especially a certain group of Benfiquistas who loves to tout and brag about how much money Benfica has made and say Schal and this and that. And then like, wait a minute, we're making boatloads of money, and yet we can't afford to keep our players. We make probably more money than Porto and Sporting combined.
Yep.
And yet we can't keep players, but they could keep players. Well, what they do is this, guys, right? They target their best players and sell all the shit around it, right? Porto sold even Nilsson, whatever. It's kind of like, all right, we're going to sell a player. Do we want to sell our best player in Diogo Costa, or we just, all right, we look at other sips and we sell them? And I thought Benfica could have done that. Benfica didn't have to sell João Neves. When you got Morato on the transfer block, You have
Yep. But no offers were coming
who the
through,
hell?
Chris.
David Nets. I understand. I understand. But again, you know, these are things that you have to plan ahead,
That's why I
right?
just
We're
felt
gonna put
like
these guys.
desperate that you sold João Neves that quick for much less than what the look. I don't. At the end of the day, I don't think Benfica would have ever gotten 120 clause for João Neves. But I think that if we hold off, maybe we get a little bit more. But I don't think there was any offers on the table for him. Any other offers for him or any offers
This
for
was a
anyone
very
else?
it was a very weird summer.
It
Very
was
weird
slow
summer.
because of you had the the
Yes,
Euro.
yes. And for the first time in a very long time, the English clubs, except Chelsea, didn't spend like drunken sailors. It seems like they're getting more cost conscious, except Chelsea.
Chelsea still did that.
Chelsea just keeps. Chelsea still.
SLBES says all the players, with the exception of Kabore, look like decent players, but no one seems like a crack. I think that Akturkoglu as kind of little hints of crack. I think that Pavlidis is a good player.
Yeah, that's right. Paulie is a hell of a player, but you know what I like. According to what I've been told, I'd be lying if I told you I watch these guys, but Amdouni and Artur Golu, I'm always gonna call him Artur Golu. Um, what I've heard about these guys from people I trust is that not only are they good players, look, nobody's making these guys to be superstars, okay? But they're really good players, players that would add quality to Benfica, players that can make a difference, and players that run all day and bust their ass. So as opposed to having guys walking back, now those of you that love players that run all day, you're gonna have two guys you're gonna applaud all. No, because even when these guys are important, right? And even though I'm not a huge fan of players like that just run all day, but now when you give me players that have quality and run a lot, I like those players a lot because even on a bad day, they're gonna influence the game because they're pressing or they're tracking back. And so these two players, I think, are going to be two players that Benfiquistas are going to like because of their effort. And then you see a player, you see a comment here by SLB. He says we needed one more player to replace Marcus Leonardo, and my answer to him is that's Amdouni. Amdouni is going to be the player to play behind.
Yeah,
he's going to really, if they stick to a 4-2-3-1, which I don't know. Again, it depends on the new coach, but he'll be the guy that replaces Cristiani in the midfield, in the midfield. I'm sorry, at forward, and he'll play behind.
Yep.
Pavlidis.
Yep.
He'll play behind Pavlidis.
I agree.
So, but Benfica, like I said to you before, Benfica has two players per position,
which is good. You want that depth.
Which, yeah, you want a deep squad.
You got Tino and Barreiro. Except when they play at the same time.
That equals
one monk.
One Pino.
Yeah, you got Best and Carreras. You got Kabore and Ba. And you got Amdouni, and he can compete with the likes of Prestiani and Sheldrup. And what do you call him? Artur Golu?
Well,
Artur Golu?
Yeah, Artur Golu. Artur Golu.
Artur Golu, which
Golu, olha ali.
From what
Artur Golu can play on the left and on the right.
Yeah, he's a guy that comes in. He's right-footed and he comes in from the left, but he's a guy that shows up in the final third quite frequently. On the other side, go ahead, Chris.
Aussie Benfica says Porto nearly got more for Galeno than Benfica for Neves. No, but that was bogus. That deal was bogus. They got 30 million, and I don't know where they got 50 from, and then they never got the official offer from the club. Hence why he's still at Porto. Guys, don't believe everything you read.
Yeah.
The other one is SLB again says we should have three strikers. We do.
Yeah, we got Cabral,
and Pavlidis.
Yep,
that's three strikers.
Right. On the flip side, the players going out, you had Neves for 60 million. You got Leonardo for 40 million. You got Neres for 28 million. Murato 15 million. Paulo Bernardo, your favorite, Cristiano, 4 million. Tengsted went out on loan. João Mario went out on loan. And Thiago Dantas has left the club after Benfica not renewing with him.
Superstar.
Yeah, and then on the current roster, guys that played, Martin Neto went to Rio Ave on loan, and Enrico Araújo.
We should have gotten their coach in return.
Yeah, Enrico Araújo, I don't think it was a loan. I think it was permanent that went
Araújo?
to
Aroca?
Aroca. Yeah. I think it was permanent, if I'm not mistaken. We're missing Dave's stats.
Bruno Gil Rodriguez says the boys from Benfica Independent explained in
Yeah.
the program where they explain Benfica finances and it doesn't look good.
I haven't
Bad
finished that.
signings and huge increase of
But
expenses.
yeah, it's crazy, right?
But Benfica is a money printing machine, bro.
It's a good thing
but
that we
like-
are.
It is. But like Nelson Carvalho says, where does the money go? Yeah, I mean that's
Where
the
does it
question.
go?
But look, guys. I don't know. There's a year left of this, you know?
Yeah.
If it doesn't work out, there's like everybody that wants to holler and complain, man, there's a way that you can make your complaints
Yeah.
important
Make your
or
voice
be
heard,
validated. Exactly. And we'll see what happens. I do think I'm of the opinion that Benfica makes plenty of money. I don't
Yeah.
understand where it goes, but they could do a better job of keeping players. I don't think their finances are as bad as everyone says they are. I do think that they're not, in great shape, but I don't think that it's, oh my God, tomorrow the doors are going to close. We're not going to pay the electrical bill. I don't think it's that bad. But vamos ver. We'll see what happens.
If you guys have a chance, and I know that, it's mainly Portuguese, definitely listen to the Benfica Independent explanation of the contas. There's some mind-boggling things there. I think, if I recall correctly, there was a guy part of the structure that he was in charge of security or something like that, and they went from in-house security to private security. He opened up a private security firm, and he awarded the contract to that private security firm.
And they pay double
Yeah.
the security bill in Porto and Sporting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
there's-
if
I mean,
it's
there's
not a
some-
conflict
there's-
of
but
interest,
again,
yeah,
But you're right. Benfica, the money going out is outrageous, but it's only outrageous because the money coming in is outrageous.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It's kind of like you live
all
in paycheck
relative.
to paycheck, right? But again, you're wasting it because you're making it. Now,
Right,
if the rainy day shows up, you ain't got nothing stashed up.
yeah.
But doesn't mean that you're not making it each week. You're just spending it weekly. You know what I mean? But they're making money.
Oh,
It's
they're
just
definitely making
not
money
being
to
spent wisely.
waste it like that. Yeah, I think about if the club was run
Ozzy,
properly. Was Ramos' money
Ozzy
not
Benfica
this
is
season?
saying, was the
Yeah.
Ramos money not this season? With it being a loan last season, yeah, I you know what, Ozzy, you might be right, but they also remember they picked up the clause, they triggered the clause pretty early.
Yeah, they did.
You recall that?
Yeah, they did.
Remember they said right away that they're keeping him. So I think that went to, I don't know, that's the part that I'm confused about. But I don't think, to answer your question more concretely, if I had to say a hard yes or hard no, I would say no. I don't think it counted for this year. Ozzy. I don't think
Yeah.
it counted. I could be wrong,
No, look,
but I don't think it did.
to me, the deal is always going to be for last season, even though there was, some kind of loopholes. Loan with an option to buy, and then we're gonna agree to buy for this. Look, those big teams with a lot of money and always fighting the financial fair play. They find creative ways to do things, like Chelsea.
Yeah, but that's all book managing, man. That's
Yeah.
all the books. You got to cook the books. You got
Yeah.
to figure it out.
well,
And again, that's for PSG. That's for
Yeah.
Benfica. They have to. You know what I mean? They have
Yeah.
to sort it out because of all the financial fair play things. Not that anything would happen to PSG. It's just like Man City.
Yeah.
It might happen to Benfica, but not to those big teams.
no,
Nobody.
definitely not. It's if you think Benfica makes money, imagine how much those guys make in terms of merchandise.
Stop
and-
it. Yeah, I got a question.
Sure.
Got a question. I'm surprised no one in the chat asked you.
What is it?
Então, não tinhas fotografias do Martin Neto e do Araújo para meter ali?
No, pa. No. It was easier to do that, It was easier to do that, But look,
Yeah.
Chris,
Ele vê porrada no,
diz
ele
lá.
vê porrada no Twitter. Ele vê porrada no Twitter há uns anos atrás, bro.
because of the
I actually
Cavani
walked out of
thing.
my house with a black guy. Because at the Aguantes, the guy was agora vez grande crack, like I said. Come on,
Yeah.
por amor de Deus. Mas vai, continua.
Yeah. No, look, if I have to grade this
And by the way,
transfer,
João
go ahead.
Mario, I'm sorry, João Mario was alone
Yeah,
with a
What an
$5 million
obligatory.
at the end of the season.
Yeah,
Yeah,
mandatory.
so it wasn't just loan; it was really $5 million at the end of the season.
Yeah, right.
That's all. So
But yeah, that's how you get around those things. But anyway, if I have to grade this this transfer window, I'm probably going a C to a D plus. I think that Benfica did a lot of things to get depth, the right back situation, the left back situation. But I think looking at these players that are here that we brought in, there's only one player that, or a couple players that I'm excited about is Artur Koglu.
But you said a D plus.
A D plus, yeah.
You said
a D plus to
D
a C.
as in David.
D as in David.
Okay.
D as in Dick. I'm only to be honest with you, I'm excited about Pavlidis. I think that he's shown us that he's a great player, but without a team serving him, he's useless. I'm a little bit excited about Artur Golu, but I just haven't seen enough of him. To be honest, Cabore and Amdouni, I'm not too. I don't have very high hopes for those guys. If you have to give it a grade, Chris.
Wait, will it change? Will it change? Will it change your mind? Because many will don't make up a great point. You didn't mention this because in reality, it's like an acquisition.
Maite.
You got to put Maite up there. Does that change? Does it go from a D plus to a C now?
Now it goes to a D minus.
I think. Oh, listen, I disagree. I go from a, if I was you, it gives me a hat because ball his feet, he's better than the other two guys with the ball at his feet.
100%.
He's just
slower than those guys. Chris, but if you have to give it a grade.
All right, let's start with switch the page to the guys that left.
Okay.
Let's start with the
Neves came in. Who did you add?
I'm sorry?
Neves came in. Who did you add? Barreiros? Sanches? Because you often talk about I grade Benfica based on the players that they let go and who they brought in.
That's what I'm saying. You have two different charts here. Okay.
So let's go. Let's go for this one. Yeah.
All right. I would have given this list realistically a solid B plus to an A if it wasn't for Neves. Obviously, Neves throws off my grade, but I would give it a high grade because I think every one of these guys on this list could be made available, would have been made available. In my books, I like Marcos Leonardo, but I don't think he convinced as much as some people make him out to be. I get it. His goal ratio, his goal per minute wasn't as bad as I make it sound, but never convinced me. He never made it.
Yeah.
Never played to a level that I was like, man, this guy, I want to see this guy play more. He was just okay. He scored goals, but he was okay. At the end of the day, it's about scoring goals.
Yeah, hold that thought. I
love the player.
Chris, hold that thought. Let me just say goodbye to our PAMA Media friends. You can continue listening to our podcast in the normal aggregators. For now, we'll just say goodbye. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you again next week. Go ahead, Chris.
David Neres is a player I liked a lot with the ball at his feet. The guy was as talented as anyone in Portugal. Excellent one-on-one player. But my one negative point, on David Neres is, I think the one that people most remember from. And all of a sudden he got sold, and now there's this outcry that, oh my God, we lost, the greatest. No. David Neres gave you, it was all or nothing. There was no in between, and there was more nothing than there was good. You know what I mean? Like, he's very inconsistent, and that's why I said to you before about Artur Golu and Dumi that these guys, I don't think they'll be as inconsistent because they'll still bring in, their lunchbox and they'll put in where David Neres could be a magician or it could be non-existent on the field. So that's why, okay, for the type of, again, for the price, I would have liked to see him go for 40 mil as opposed to 28. But that's just us. We want our players, if to leave, to get sold for buckets of money. But I think it was fair. I think David Neres is a player that, again, as I said, very appealing to the fans. But if you really sit there and dissect his performances, they're not as good as people make him out to be all of a sudden. Morato was a player that I had crazy expectations for. I was higher on him than most. But this sell, I don't understand. You rejected $35 million last year to accept $12 million this year. I just don't understand how in the world that makes sense. And then the other four guys that left, to me, they were spare parts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were that triangle in the vest that you have in the trunk in Portugal. If you break down, they were just there. They were there because they had to be there. You know what I'm saying?
Like the hazardous sign.
So
the hazardous triangle that you put on the road as you change a tire.
I'm sorry, you're breaking it.
That's
it.
That's
yeah, exactly. Exactly. They were the hazardous triangle in the vest because it's like you have to have it there. You know what I mean? It's law, and it's like these guys were on the team. You have to fill out a roster. They were just there. Para fazer os números. So David Neres breaks my heart, but the rest of the list is a very solid B plus. But with Neres, with David Neres on it, I've got to be honest. I'll say C plus.
Yeah.
C plus.
Yeah, I'm around there.
On the outgo.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Because of that. Without Neves, it's a lot higher.
Yeah.
Without Neves in that list, it's higher. But with Neves in it, it brings it down a little bit. As far as the acquisitions, I think it's inconclusive. I don't have a grade for it yet.
Yeah.
I have crazy hopes for Pavlidis. I think Pavlidis is a player, but he can't be playing with a youngster Cristiani who's not ready. Barreiro and Tino. Come on, this guy, I get more service at my local McDonald's than he does on the field. You know what I'm saying? He gets nothing. He has to get somebody to help him out a little bit, which none of these guys did that.
Yeah.
So I have crazy expectations for him. Renato Sanchez, it's the big key here.
Yeah.
Is he going to return to the player he was or not? Because if he comes anything close to what he was once before, it'll be a terrific replacement for João Neves. You won't be talking about João Neves much more because Renato was a baller. And then the other two guys, I don't know about the latest two guys. They promise a lot. As I said, they're going to put in a shift, which that's important. For me, that's important. Players that come in and work hard, but again, they're not just workers, right? There's plenty of guys that we've had on the field that just ran. But again, this is a sport. This is not a marathon. This is not the 100-yard dash or whatever it is. You need to be able to make decisions with the ball at your feet, and I think these guys can do that. Now, at what consistency? That's yet to be seen, and that's how I'll grade them at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that the consistent. We've already seen Pavlidis, and we've already spoke about it. Sanchez is, like Cristiano said, to me that Amdouni and Artur Goglu or whatever. I've heard that Amdouni could be very inconsistent. That he could be on for 2-3 games and then he will just disappear.
But let's be fair. I'm afraid to interrupt you. He was inconsistent in England in the Premier League. Different levels. Let's see what he does in the Portuguese League.
No, I completely understand. So I'm holding my judgment to see what Artur Goglu and Amdouni can do, and look if we could get Sanchez at least 3/4 of what he's been at his top level. I think that's good enough for the Tugawan to help this team. So we'll see. Let's just let's wrap this up, man. Let's talk about the Champions League, which will
before we wrap it up. All right, do what you want to do about the Champions League. Then before you wrap it up,
want to talk about the coach.
Go ahead.
Let's talk about the coach also. I just want to talk.
I was going to say that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, we're gonna.
But we could do that after.
Yeah.
Because if we do it now, they'll all leave. So make Diogo and these guys stick around till the end if they want to hear a coach.
Yeah. The coach comes up at 1 hour and 37 minutes, so stick around. The Champions League, so new format, 4 matches home, 4 matches away, 2 matches against teams from each one of the pots, 1 through 4, and this is how we ended up. So Benfica will open up the campaign on September 19th away at Red Star. Then we will host Atletico Madrid, Feyenoord, go to Germany to play Bayern. We'll travel to the Principality of Monaco to play Monaco. That's November 27th. That's right around the time when we play Porto. Then in December, we'll travel to Bologna to play Bologna. And in January, we'll go to Camp Nou, and we'll we'll host Barcelona in January 21st, and we'll go to the San Siro to play. Is it No, it's San Siro. Juventus.
What are you talking about?
Juventus. It's not San Siro.
San Siro.
Miazza. No, it's not Miazza.
San Siro Giuseppe Miazza is Benfica. Hey, before this, it's Inter and AC Milan, bro. Estou perdido.
And we'll go to Italy to play Juventus on January 29th. So at the end of January. So that's what do you think about the Champions League draw, Chris? Do you think we have a chance to go into that playoff pool? So the way it is what 1 through 8 automatically qualify into the round of 16th. 9th through 17.
24.
9 through 24 go through a playoff. The winners of those games will join the round.
Not a playoff. They go into a head-to-head, like the old school way.
Yeah, but it's
a two-game
head-to-head.
Two-legged. Yeah, two-legged. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They go into a draw. I think they go into a draw.
No. They're seeds. They're seeds. Yeah, they're seeds. Nine against 24, so on and so forth.
So what?
Things
so
like
9 plays 24?
Yeah,
if 9 plays 20? Okay.
Yeah, things like that.
Okay. All right. So then it's a 2. Yeah, okay. So then there is. So then they both play 2 matches to see, come up with an aggregate and then see who advances. The last 24 through 38 or 36, whatever it is, vão pra casa dormir.
Yeah.
There's no more going
Europa
into
League. Yeah, right.
Europa League, like once it ends, it ends. Once it ends, fudeu.
Finito, like Roger Schmidt. All right. Now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about coaches, and I'll be very upfront with.
But you asked me,
Go ahead.
You asked me if I thought that Benfica could advance or whatnot.
Yeah, you didn't answer. You talk a lot, but you don't say shit.
No, I was trying to help you out with, because you were saying 9 through whatever. I was trying to help you out.
Yeah, what are the chances that we come out of that second group?
I'm gonna have to go back to all reliable, which is, it's premature for me to say right now, because again, I don't know who the coach is going to be.
Yeah.
I honestly, so like, again, it all depends, as I stated about the Portuguese league and this holds firm here for the Champions League. It all depends on who they bring in as a coach. If they bring in, like our former coach used to say, a top coach, right? Obviously, I'll be a lot more optimistic. But if they bring in, Mr. It is what it is, I'll obviously be very depressed and, not very happy and not very excited about our chances. So as of right now, it's inconclusive. I can't be making predictions not knowing who's in charge, who's around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The plantel is good enough in Portugal to compete in Portugal. But in Champions League and stuff like that, obviously the competition elevates.
Yeah.
I think that the group, not our group, but I think the 8 teams that we drew, I think all of them are strong at something. I think they're all quality opponents. Obviously, Feyenoord, in my opinion, is probably the weakest. Red Star is a team that is going to be very difficult to go out there and play. They have some quality players that we don't even know about, but they play with that garra. They're not going to make it easy for Benfica. Bologna was a team that played very well last year in the Serie A, but they lost their coach. So how many changes have they made? Obviously, I don't follow that team in and out as I do Benfica. So there's still a lot of unknowns, but I know it's not going to be easy. The 4 teams at the top, Bayern, Barca, Juve, and Atletico, they're going to be tough outs. Now, could Benfica surprise anyone? I think Bayern is obviously the toughest choice.
Yeah.
But could Benfica surprise those teams? Absolutely, they can, but it all depends to me, and
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
who the coach is, man.
Yeah,
Need
there's a
to know
lot
who it
of
is.
there's a lot of question marks in terms of what coach will it be? Um, what can the coach do with this squad? Because until the winter, you can't touch it. You gotta play with the cards that you've been dealt. So I don't know if the coach, depending on the coach, obviously, if there's some adjustments in the winter transfer window. So I don't know, but the biggest question is the coach right now. Um, and since we're on a coach, I guess I could. I'm gonna be very frontal, and uh, I don't want Conceição, and I hope that he never coaches Benfica. I just don't identify with his personality, and I just don't like him. I understand why people want him, but that's not the right reason. You want to kick this team's ass. Maybe you could start at the top. I know why people want him, and I know the reasons why, and the disciplinarian and tough guy, and the kicking the team's ass, and really hold the team to a certain standard. I get all of that. I just can't identify with the persona for me. To me, if I'm looking at the coaches that are available right now, I told a couple of people that I spoke to today that I'm really on the fence with Lage. I don't, if he doesn't come, I'm okay with it. If he comes, I'm a little bit hesitant and I'm a little suspicious because after Lage left Benfica, he really didn't do anything to add to his curriculum. He trained Wolves. That didn't end well. Went to Brazil to coach Botafogo, wasted a 7-point lead, and that didn't end well. And
15.
was it 15?
15.
15? Yeah. I read 7 points.
15-point lead.
Yeah, 15-point lead. So I think
Yeah.
when you look at Lage and what he's done after he's left Benfica, nothing really memorable, to be honest with you. I do under the angle that he knows the house, knows the league, knows the players. Those are all pluses for him. I just don't think that he's at the level of what Benfica needs right now. I like Leonardo Jardim. I like Paiva. Paiva's contract died. I don't think he could come. In terms of foreign coaches, I know that Allegri was mentioned. I know that Mancini was mentioned. I don't know what other foreign coaches have been mentioned, Chris, that I haven't heard and you have. But I don't know. It's difficult right now, and there's no inkling as to who's going to come. Petit, I think, was mentioned also, and he's free, and he's a house man, I guess. But no. What about you, Chris? What do
you want the long answer? Or do you want
I want
the long answer?
let it
Or
go.
you want the short answer?
Let it fly.
It's not to let it fly, man. First of all, a few years back, I gave up my Funcionario days. Okay, that was short lived after Cavani let me down. So I gave up trying to be one of these people that had scoops and whatever. But according to some very reliable people that I trust a lot, I've been told that the coach is going to be a foreign coach. That takes away all the guys you just mentioned. That wipes them clean, and we don't have to talk about them. But I feel the need to add my 2 cents because Hugo and whatever we've been arguing over this because Hugo's been telling me for days that he does not want Lage, he does not want Lage, does not want Lage. And I'm of the opinion that if it was my choice, Lage is not the choice. But when compared to all the other sippers that you're talking about, I take him over. And Hugo says, well, I'll take the unknown, right? But it's like everybody likes to point at what Lage has done since and how things have gone south on him, right? As if the other guys have done anything in particular. I haven't seen Renato Paiva do anything. Leonardo Jardim won a title with Monaco, hasn't done shit since. Well, Lage won a title with Benfica, hasn't done shit since. Lage, let's not forget, there's some positives and obviously there's a lot of negatives. I understand. And I'm going to reiterate, he is not my choice, my first choice. I like him. I talk to him once in a while. Very nice man. Really nice man. Enjoyable person to speak to. But if it was me making a decision, there's probably other guys I'd obviously put ahead of him. But all of a sudden, we can't erase all the good that he did at Benfica as well. He came in, he took over a team that was 8 points behind Football Club do Porto. He had to overturn that against the Football Club do Porto that we know, with the bells and whistles and café com leite and fruta fresca, right? It's very hard to overturn an 8-point lead against such team. And then, if I'm not mistaken, in the very next season, in the first half of the season, I think he had the best first half of any coach.
Yeah.
Right? And so then all of a sudden the wheels fell off. So let's not act like he didn't do some good. Not act like it was all terrible. Now, is he good enough today to lead this team onto the right path? Probably not. I do agree with you guys. Right? I'd be feeling a little bit dejected after the decision. But when you take into consideration the other options, you can make the argument for Bruno Lage. I mean, what the hell has Renato Paiva done? Everybody wants to talk to me about what he did at B team. Look, this is what I told somebody yesterday, and I'm going to tell you guys today. When we talk about at the youth level, there are very few coaches, if anyone, in world football that have a better resume than Carlos Queiroz. What has Carlos Queiroz done at the senior level in his career? Absolute jack shit. What you do on the youth level is youth level. What you do at the senior level is senior level. Remember, at the youth level, guys aren't making bundles of cash. At the professional level, they are. It's totally different athletes, totally different mentality that you're dealing with in a day-to-day basis at a professional level, especially at a big club such as Benfica, than you have to do with the kids at the youth department. So I don't want to hear, and I'm pretty sure he's a really nice guy and he's a decent coach. But what the hell has he done to warrant a job at Benfica? Please, ladies and gentlemen, give me something good. What he took off the León in Mexico, Toluca, I mean, Independiente de Valle, like for real? And then what did he do at Sporting? Jack shit. He was good at Monaco with Mbappe, with what's his name? Little guy. Oh my God, Bernardo Silva. Those types of players, yeah, he's fantastic. Look, I don't want to take it away from him, but he did well there. What's he done since? So again, when you compare everybody else, in my opinion, fica tudo ali na mesma. And look, Lage, já cá esteve, he did well. He did bad, but he also did well. Let's not erase the good things he did as well.
What about Abel?
Abel's on the contrary. He's not coming. Abel's not. Look, first of all, I told you he's a foreigner, but Abel's not coming. And Abel's another guy that we all sit here, and for years, last year, when the rumors swirled that, Jose Mourinho was going to be hired. Oh, we don't want him. He's defensive. Abel's the same exact shit.
Yeah.
Abel has a president behind him that supports him 100% in every decision he makes. And he's confrontational with the media. He's confrontational with the opposition. Very defensive-minded, counter-attacking all day. Coach that I can make the argument does not have the mentality or the approach to be a Benfica coach. That's not the style of play we want. Benfica needs an attacking coach. Abel doesn't fit the mold. Who else? What else do you need me to answer?
No, that's it. I
else?
Can't think.
Marco Silva.
Pepa.
It says SOB says Marco Silva is my number one choice.
There's no way he's not leaving.
In the Premier League, and Benfica's gonna have to pay a lot of money to get him out of contract.
They
a lot of money to go away.
They like him over there in Fulham.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, look, I think that Leonardo Jardim is kind of taking the money route rather than remaining relevant, and that's a concern for me, right? Because as Cristiano mentioned, after Monaco, did he really coach any other teams that were relevant?
Look, Sheikh Marcelino just helped me out a little bit, right? Because my mind drew a blank. There you go. Jardim did well in Monaco. Mbappe, Bernardo Silva, Falcão, Fabinho, Mendy, Lamar, etc. O que ele fez before and after?
Yep.
I do see a lot of people mentioning Leonardo Jardim. Mike Madeira says coach needs to speak Portuguese. Look, at the end of the day, Mike, man, the coach needs to understand X's and O's. The coach needs to understand how to motivate his team, how to get this team ready and prepared to play. At the end of the day, we often love the romance of soccer, the romance that we hear that, we don't need to speak the same language. The football is the world language. The ball.
Yeah.
The ball is how we understand. And you see players playing with each other that don't speak the same language. They don't understand, but they know how to play the game. And similar here in coaching. If you know how to prepare, there's plenty of guys to translate. Look, my boy Ricardo Rocha is in the locker room. He speaks Portuguese, he speaks English, he speaks different languages. He could translate. At the end of the day, give me a coach that knows a thing or two about football, that knows a thing or two about setting up their teams. If you could get a Portuguese guy that could do that, great. That's the icing on the cake. But I don't want the deciding factor not to hire a coach, the fact that he doesn't speak Portuguese.
To me, it doesn't make a
If
difference.
he's good, he's good. If he's bad, he's bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Regardless of what language you speak.
Yeah, to me, it doesn't make a difference either. I think the Portuguese has the advantage of knowing the league and knowing the inner workings of the league and the different stadiums where you play. But look, I think that a coach at Benfica should also have that information secondhand from his technical staff. I mean, there should be a folder that he gets on every game that has every single aspect of the opponent spelled out and on the report. But I don't think it makes a difference whether it's a Portuguese coach or a foreign coach, to be honest with you. But
Bristol the GOAT says, salute. I want Sergio Conceição. He has a chip on his shoulder on how he Porto treat. And look, I do agree. I don't want Sergio Conceição, but I do agree that he has axe to grind with them by the way that they hired his assistant and whatever. That's the only positive.
I don't rate him as a coach.
Else, I'm with you. I don't rate me neither. But he does have an axe to grind. That part I agree with. I'm not saying I want him. I'm not saying I agree that he should come. I'm saying I do agree that he's got a chip on his shoulder.
It wouldn't
I do agree.
It wouldn't surprise me if Sergio Conceição one of these days ends up in Brazil.
The Roger Schmidt, Jesus Christ. Diogo Reis, I think it's the smartest thing he said in a while. He said, can we start a GoFundMe for Klopp? Absolutely. Klopp is my guy. I would love to.
Yeah.
Klopp is the guy. But look, he said he's going to take a little hiatus. Yeah. Hugo and I today argued because Hugo said that he retired. I haven't seen anywhere that says retired. Everything I've read and everything I've heard is that he's taking a little break from football.
Yep.
And Jurgen Klopp is the one guy or one of the very few guys on the market, or coaches, I should say, forget the market, a coaching carousel, I should say, that I do believe that would take on a project such as Benfica.
Yeah.
But not today. First, he's on hiatus. Second of all, Benfica is not in the best state today. There's, building, the walls are burning and stuff. Fire department is around. They're doing a good job trying to put it out. We'll see what happens. But right now, there's a lot of uncertainty at the club, and I don't think he'd risk such of that, especially with elections coming up next year. But Roger Schmidt is one of those guys that I do believe would love a challenge such as Benfica. He comes from Germany, was at Dortmund, where Dortmund is owned by Sócios. Germans and Portuguese align with that a lot, with the Sócio mold and stuff like that. So I think he'd be a guy that gets it.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's coming.
Yep. Bristow, the GOAT, says, why don't you rate him? Sergio Conceição. I just don't think that he is an X's and O's guy. He's more of a motivator, more of a guy that holds on to something and kind of fuels the team based on that. I never really thought that he was a good coach. I always thought that the guy that's Porto's coach today was the mastermind behind that. So I really don't rate him. And look, for the people that know the game and know how to rate coaches, if Sergio Conceição was a highly rated coach, or if he was held in high regard by the coaching community and by the director and managers of clubs, he would have been at a club right now. He wouldn't be looking for a job.
Yep, so, he wouldn't be a free agent. What was I going to say? There's something I just noticed. There's 22 people in the chat, and there's only 16 likes. Somebody's not doing their homework.
I'm in that chat. Time. Let me go ahead it.
Diogo Reis says, who's the Portuguese coach that got fired in Brazil after 2 games? That was Tony's son, if I'm not mistaken, right? Wasn't it him? I think it was him. Oliveira, whatever his name. I think it was
either him or Pippa. Pippa lasted more than 2 games.
Yeah, Peppa lasted.
But he's back.
Peppa's back.
But he just got hired there, right?
Got hired again.
Yeah.
He's got hired again. I think it was Tony's son.
Yep. What about Luis
Jesus
Castro,
Christ.
Cristiano?
He's not leaving the Camels and the. Come on, bro.
I
He's
thought
not leaving.
I
He's
thought
over
I
there with
read that
Cristiano Ronaldo.
he was on his way out.
He's. I think they like to bring in Zinedine Zidane to keep Georgina and Cristiano happy, but I don't think that's happening. At least not yet. And I don't know. Again, that's another guy with Porto ties. Right?
Yeah.
If you're gonna do all that, just go get Sergio Conceição. Why get the?
Yeah, but Luis
the
Castro
wannabe.
is more of a coach.
Agreed, but I know, but I don't forget Luis Castro. Listen, Benfica needs. I don't think Luis Castro is the guy that's gonna unite the masses and get everybody excited to go back to the lose. Look at this team playing football. I mean, I don't think he excites anyone.
Yeah, Bristow.
I'm very intrigued, man. Very intrigued.
Certainly, if you look at Sergio Conceição's CV, he's got more titles than Lage for sure. So, is he better than Chico Marcelino says Gasparini? Gasparini available?
Yeah.
He is available?
I think he's a free agent.
Ooh.
If I'm not mistaken, I think so. Xavi, para stop, man. Xavi. O que é que o Xavi tem? Para vocês falam mal do Lage para dar com o Xavi. O que é que o Xavi
between Xavi and Lage, there's not much of a difference there. Sergio Conceição refused to shake João Neves' hand after the game. Neves and his son are best friends and used to go on vacation. Now, you got that wrong. I think you're talking about Felix, not Neves.
Yes, João Felix.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's who he refused. Yeah, and then you got the situation when Benfica beat Porto the first season that he stuck out his foot and he wanted to trip the Benfica physio or the trainer or whatever.
It was Roger Schmidt's trainer.
Yeah. So is one of those things. Anyway, that's all we got. Next week we'll be off. International.
If you guys want to hear who my prediction of coaches, you got to subscribe to my OnlyFans.
My OnlyFans. Olha, vamos embora. Chegou o Hugo. Take care, everyone.
Xavi is the Guardiola from AliExpress. He's from Ali. No, como é que é o Timo?
Timo.
Como é que chama aquilo? Timo. The
Yeah.
You know that. It's Timo, right? It's called.
Yeah, it's Timo.
Ei, chegou esse aqui a esperar. Ainda bem que temos que ir embora. Foda-se.
Bye. Take care, everyone.
Hey.
We'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye.
Poor guy. You will call me. We'll talk on the phone.
Bye.
Arrivederci.